Figured that this was probably the day to announce to you what our next Star Trek series is going to be.
Paramount Skydance does not want this out yet. The Strange New Worlds team has formally pitched a new Star Trek series titled Star Trek Year 1 directly to David Ellison's desk. The full original bridge crew is assembled on paper for the first time in the modern era. Thomas Jane signed as Dr. McCoy, Kai Murakami signed as Sulu, Paul Wesley as Kirk. The Season 5 finale of Strange New Worlds is being built to show Kirk's literal first day in command of the Enterprise, a moment Star Trek fans have waited 60 years to see on screen. And whether Paramount Skydance greenlights it or walks away from the most significant Star Trek opportunity in decades may come down to a single spreadsheet in a boardroom. Stay until the end, because the full picture of what's at stake here is bigger than most people realize. If you follow Star Trek, legacy franchises, and the real business decisions shaping what gets made in Hollywood, subscribe right now and hit the bell. Now let's get into all of it. Let's start with what is confirmed, not rumored, not speculated, confirmed, because the foundation here is stronger than a lot of coverage has acknowledged. Akiva Goldsman stood in front of a packed hall at San Diego Comic-Con and said directly, "We will take the show to Kirk's first day of command," which is, by the way, not actually the original series. That statement is from the showrunner himself. It is not a tease. It is a declared creative intention from the person running the show. Henry Alonzo Myers, his co-showrunner, went further at the Saturn Awards. "We've brought the deck to Paramount Skydance. It's in their hands now. The sets are still standing and we've got a solid cast outline." That is not fan speculation. That is the production team publicly confirming they have submitted a formal pitch with an assembled cast, a mapped narrative, and standing sets ready to use. The pitch is titled Star Trek Year 1. A trademark application, number 9701235, was filed listing Skydance Media as the applicant. This has legal paperwork attached to it. The cast outline on paper: Paul Wesley as Kirk, Ethan Peck as Spock, Celia Rose Gooding as Uhura, Jenna Bush as Nurse Chapel, Martin Quinn as Scotty. And in December 2025, 2 names were quietly added to official casting grids: Thomas Jane locked in as Dr. Leonard McCoy and Kai Murakami stepping in as Hikaru Sulu. For the first time in the modern era, the complete original series bridge crew is assembled: Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Sulu, Scotty, Uhura, together on the Enterprise bridge. That has not happened in any Star Trek production since the 1960s. And the timing is deliberate. The Season 5 finale is positioned to debut this lineup as the franchise approaches its 60th anniversary in September 2026. The Strange New Worlds team did not bring Paramount a wish list. They brought a production-ready proposal with cast, concept, legal groundwork, and a narrative that launches directly from the final scene of Strange New Worlds last season. Now here is the cold reality surrounding all of this. Because the creative ambition of Year 1 exists inside a corporate environment that is significantly less forgiving than it was 3 years ago. The Paramount Skydance merger closed in July 2025. When it did, every active Trek project was forced into a corporate review process anchored by a $2 billion cost-cutting mandate. Every series had to justify its existence in financial terms, not just creative ones. The consequences have been real and immediate. On March 12, 2026, CBS Studios canceled Starfleet Academy, citing insufficient viewership. The number buried in that press release is the one that matters. Just 38,700 U.S. households tuned in for the premiere. That figure did not just kill one show. It established a new internal benchmark, a bar that even Paramount's own metrics reportedly describe as nearly impossible for a new series to clear out of the gate. In Toronto, early 2026 brought the quiet, methodical dismantling of the Star Trek stage at Pinewood Studios. Photographs from January show crews removing the Discovery Bridge, Section 31 sets, and the last remnants of the Starfleet Academy build. For the first time in a decade, there is no Trek production occupying that lot. The message from the studio is unambiguous: no new build unless a project is already greenlit, and no greenlight unless the numbers justify it. Alex Kurtzman's contract, the foundational arrangement that shaped the entire modern Trek expansion, is currently in limbo. As of May 2026, renewal talks remain unresolved. The leadership infrastructure that championed aggressive Trek expansion is now operating under a completely different mandate focused on risk reduction, not creative vision. The environment Year One is being pitched into is not the one that greenlit Strange New Worlds. It is considerably harder. We still need to cover the 3 competing pitches fighting for the single available slot, why Paul Wesley is specifically the irreplaceable piece of this puzzle, the timeline that makes the 60th anniversary the last clean window, and what fans can actually do right now that could influence the outcome. Stay with me, subscribe if you're not already here, let's keep going. According to sources, 3 rival concepts are currently competing for what may be a single available series slot at Paramount Skydance. Understanding each one makes the Year One situation considerably clearer. First, Star Trek United. Pitched as a prestige drama featuring Scott Bakula returning as President Jonathan Archer, an older statesman-era story operating as a political thriller that leans on franchise legacy and narrative weight. The appeal is real, but the production cost isn't. New sets, new timeline infrastructure, a high-budget ask during a cost-cutting mandate. It's a compelling vision with an expensive price tag. Second, Star Trek Legacy. Terry Matalas's campaign to continue 7 of 9 story as captain of the Enterprise G has been one of the most sustained fan lobbying efforts in recent Trek history. The petition passed 65,000 signatures. The passion is genuine and documented. But Paramount refused to move on it, and in 2026 the legacy story began migrating to comics, which is typically what happens when a studio has made a quiet decision without wanting to announce it publicly. Fan passion alone did not move the needle. Third, Star Trek Year One. Here is why Year One occupies a fundamentally different position than either of the other 2 pitches. It is not just creatively compelling, it is financially efficient in a way that matters enormously right now. The Strange New Worlds Enterprise sets are already standing. Reusing them slashes production costs dramatically compared to any pitch that requires new construction. The cast is already largely assembled through existing contracts. The narrative launches directly from Strange New Worlds finale, meaning there is no setup cost. The audience arrives already invested. In a climate where a single series slot may be all that survives the merger's cost-cutting requirements, Year One is the only proposal that delivers both a creative milestone and a genuine financial argument. It is not asking the studio to build something new. It is asking them to continue something they already paid to construct. Paul Wesley is not simply a casting choice in this equation. He is the specific reason the financial argument for Year One is as strong as it is, and why walking away from this pitch carries real cost beyond just losing one series. Wesley has spent 4 seasons building a modern Kirk for the streaming era, not a legacy reference, not a cameo. A fully developed, episode-by-episode construction of who Kirk is before he becomes the captain audiences know from the original series. That work represents years of investment, creative, financial, and audience relationship investment. Subscribers who came to Strange New Worlds over 4 seasons know Wesley as their Kirk. That familiarity is not theoretical. It is a cultivated asset. The Kelvin Timeline Kirk option is gone. The Chris Pine film was officially canceled. There is no rival version of Kirk waiting in development that could step in if Paramount walks away from Wesley. If Year One doesn't move forward, the studio doesn't just lose a pitch. They absorb the full sunk cost of everything they spent building Wesley's Kirk without ever cashing in on what that character can anchor. The boardroom math here is not subtle. Skydance spent years and significant money onboarding an audience around a specific Kirk. Letting Year One stall means that entire investment generates no return beyond Strange New Worlds' final season. Greenlighting Year One means that investment becomes the foundation of the next decade of Star Trek storytelling. Strange New Worlds returns July 23, 2026. That launch lands just weeks before Star Trek's 60th anniversary on September 13, 2026. That date is not just a milestone for fan celebration, it is the single most powerful marketing and cultural moment the franchise has to work with for the foreseeable future. A 60th anniversary creates organic, large-scale media attention that no studio marketing budget can fully replicate. It generates coverage, retrospectives, cultural conversation, and renewed audience interest across demographics that grew up with different versions of Trek. It is a rare alignment of franchise history and current momentum that only comes around once, and it is coming in 2026 regardless of whether Paramount chooses to capitalize on it. If Year One is greenlit in time to be announced around the 60th anniversary, or positioned as the franchise's next era at that moment, the cultural impact is amplified significantly. If the decision is delayed past that window, the moment passes and the next comparable milestone is decades away. The showrunners have already mapped this. By the time Strange New World's final episode lands in 2027, Paramount Skydance will have made its decision on Year One, either leveraging the anniversary momentum or letting it dissipate without a successor in place. Paramount is not waiting for nostalgia to make this call. They are watching viewership numbers, tracking social media volume, and measuring urgency. Every data point generated between now and late 2026 factors into that calculation. Step back from the individual details and look at what this decision actually is. Paramount Skydance has a formally submitted pitch, a production-ready cast, legal trademark filings, and 2 showrunners who have publicly stated their intentions and confirmed the deck is on the executive desk. They have a 60th anniversary window that creates a natural launchpad. They have an actor in Paul Wesley who represents 4 seasons of audience investment with no viable replacement. And they have a financial argument, the set reuse alone, that separates Year One from every other pitch on the table in terms of cost efficiency. What they are weighing against all of that is a $2 billion cost-cutting mandate, the Starfleet Academy cancellation serving as a cautionary data point, and a corporate culture that is currently prioritizing risk minimization over creative ambition. The tension between those 2 realities is exactly where the decision sits right now. The Strange New Worlds team has done everything a creative team can do. They built the foundation across 4 seasons. They assembled the cast. They filed the legal paperwork. They made the pitch publicly and put it on record. They gave the studio a financially defensible path to the most historically significant Star Trek series since the original. Whether that is enough depends entirely on how Paramount Skydance's leadership weighs a spreadsheet against a 60-year legacy. Star Trek Year One is not a fan dream or a Reddit thread. It is a formally documented, cast-assembled, legally filed production pitch sitting on David Ellison's desk right now, timed to the franchise's 60th anniversary, built on existing infrastructure, and anchored by the only Kirk currently integrated into the streaming era. The window closes fast. The anniversary comes September 13th, 2026. The final Strange New World season wraps in 2027. Every conversation happening in fandom between now and then is data the studio is watching. Drop your take in the comments. Do you think Paramount Skydance greenlights Year One? Should they? And who do you want to see in this full original Bridge Crew lineup? Hit the like button if this breakdown delivered. Subscribe for every major Star Trek and Hollywood franchise update as it happens. Until next time, see you on the other side.